Zelensky to Davos.
Mr. President, it's a pleasure to welcome you for the first time here at the annual meeting in Davos. Last April, you won the presidential elections in Ukraine with a staggering majority of 73%. I think this is a dream for any politician to have such a majority. Much emphasis and hope has been put into your government's ability to reform the Ukraine from within. You have laid out your extensive ambitions to remake Ukraine into a dynamic market economy, free of corruption. At the same time, the Ukraine is faced with daunting challenges, and as a president, you have already had to deal with the political reality in your first months of office. We are now very eager to hear from you how you see the future of Ukraine. Welcome very much, Mr. President.
Hello, everybody. Thank you very much. It's a great pleasure to be here the first time. I'm the president of Ukraine, so I'll speak Ukrainian. Шановний пане голово, Professor Schwab, шановні присутні.
Dear Mr. Chairman, Professor Schwab, dear all, for me it's extremely really pleasant to be here at the 50th session of the World Economic Forum. And using this opportunity, I would like to note the projects of the forum for Ukraine, and namely scenarios of the future for Ukraine, Geneva Initiative for Ukraine, the new economic vision for Ukraine, and I thank you for what has already been done, and I count on the further fruitful cooperation. The topics which are debated here in Davos always focus on the state of the modern world and elucidate the challenges facing humanity. And this year forum united the leaders to discuss extremely important topic, the cohesive and sustainable world. Well, to my mind, frankly speaking, Ukraine has what to say in this regard. What is the biggest threat to cohesive and sustainable world today? And this is security issue. Well, security for an individual as well as for many countries and all nations. The present-day world is changing with reactive speed, which transferred us into a new epoch, the epoch of new normality. What yesterday seemed fantastic.
So security is the big issue. Schwab is the kingmaker in this circumstance. So here is the comedian president. He's fated on the big international World Economic Forum stage, and we're entering new reality. So I think they knew perfectly well what the agenda was that was going to come in Ukraine. And of course, it doesn't matter, those right-wing, the Nazi connections, those are all forgotten because Ukrainian right-wing Nazis, they're good. But of course, if they were anywhere else, we mustn't talk about them. So pretty interesting to watch that. Let's ask the question, who is Schwab and what is his agenda? Why is that man so powerful? David, a little while ago, you showed a video clip of a parliamentarian speaking out in Canada asking how Schwab could have influenced people within their parliament. And of course, that person was immediately cut down by the Canadian equivalent, the Speaker, and they didn't want to talk about Schwab's influence.
They did not, but of course Schwab does. Schwab wanted to talk about how many, in fact it was a majority of the Canadian cabinet were part of, had come through his Young Leaders program. So he was very enthusiastic about his influence in Canada, even though the Canadian people didn't get to learn anything in their parliament about how much that influence had in fact penetrated.
Yeah, thank you for that. Well, of course, it's all changed between Davos and the World Economic Forum and Putin. Politico here with the headline, Davos freezes out Putin and Russian oligarchs. And the statement from their spokesperson, Amanda Russo, was, we're not engaging with any sanctioned individual and have frozen all relations with Russian, quote, entities. So Putin is clearly not playing a game that meets Schwab's approval at the moment. So of course he's got to be taken out, he's got to be replaced, deposed, and or brought to The Hague for war crimes. But what better way to get the war crimes going than the killing babies? I think this is a very old trick, goes back to certainly the First World War. But of course, who is at the moment pushing this out? Well, it's Elena Zelensky, the president's wife, who is very much pushing out the truth that Russians are killing kids. I've taken this from a rather strange website called Care Cleaning. This was passed through to me. The reports appear accurate. You can see other quotes in the independent newspapers in UK, but this is the theme of what she's saying. I appeal to all the unbiased media in the world, tell this terrible truth. Russian invaders are killing Ukrainian children. Show these photos to Russian women. Your husbands, brothers, compatriots are killing Ukrainian children. Let them know that they're personally responsible for the death of every Ukrainian child because they gave their tacit consent to these crimes. And then talking about the deaths, this figure might be increasing this very moment due to the shelling of our peaceful cities. When people in Russia say their troops are not hurting the civilian population, show them these pictures, show them the faces of these children who weren't even given a chance to grow up. How many more children must die to convince Russian troops to stop firing and allow humanitarian corridors? So obviously this would have been the message, Mike, that went straight into Prince William and Kate in the palace. But when it comes down to understanding what's really happening on the ground, it gets difficult. This was included in the report by Care Cleaning. The 18-month-old Kirill Yatsko was photographed by Associated Press as his parents frantically carried the toddler into a hospital in the southern Ukrainian city of Mariupol. So I found this fascinating that a cameraman is there, the other side of a door as they run in. And I'm fascinated by the look of the man in the red suit in the background, who's got a sort of puzzled look on his face. You need to expand the image to see it. So I'm going to take this at face value, tragic picture, but why is it that we're getting so little accurate reports out? And this was a follow-up picture. I found this very distressing because if this couple have just lost a child, why would somebody be pointing a camera through into the room where they were grieving? I don't think this is good journalism. To me, it seems to have an element that it's staged very carefully, but we have to be so careful now because we can't tell what's happening despite all of that good training by BBC Media Action. But if we go back to the president himself, we need to be looking at this media company, Kvartal 95. You can find this online. You can look at the background. Here's a quote from the Ukrainian president. Ambitious objective, the co-founder and creative producer of Kvartal 95 says, is to make a world a better place, a kinder and more joyful place with help of those tools that we have, that is humor and creativity. We're moving towards this goal, trying to conquer the whole world, of course. I found that a very interesting expression. We can see lots of people in black clothing, but not to worry because these people are just simply trying to get the comedy and the cartoons out to the Ukrainians. But what's coming? Well, of course, it's happened because now the UK and Channel 4 in particular is doing a documentary charting President Zelensky's journey from, quote, comedian to Ukrainian leader. First one was out on Sunday, but what have we got? The making of an actor on the World Economic Forum stage. So I think this is pretty blatant that it's propaganda that's making this man and everybody in the West and UK is to believe it. And just for you, David,